Alright, hope you guys are doing well. This is James and the Giant Economy. We're going to talk about crude and what's happened last week or so. So this chart kind of shows a little bit, but basically it was in the 70 range, 74, 75, tanked down to like 65-ish dollars, and then now within like 2 or 3 business days is back up to it was at 71 yesterday. It's down 50 cents to 70 and change, right? When it tanked, a lot of people were worried about oil and gas prices, and that's to be expected, right? Kind of like I made a video about it, said, hey, most likely this is just fear and uncertainty and doubt, kind of FUD, pulling the market down or something like that. And it just bounced right back up a lot faster and a lot sharper than I thought it was. But this is the industry you're in, and this is why we hold these assets for a long time. If you're a trader, then you could have got caught and lost a lot of money. You could have been fearful and sold when it dropped and lost some money, right? So let's look at a chart. I've been doing this chart for a while. Back here is when Russia invaded. This is on the daily. Again, this is a good symmetrical triangle. It did break this, right? That is a little scary for oil, future oil prices, but it didn't break this line. Again, this line has been going back since last time it was, there's a few breaks here in April, May, which is, of last year, which is about 18 months ago, give or take, right? Am I doing math right? They popped right back up and came up. There are breaks over here. These would be more, I think, the more considerable breaks, and those were in 2021, right? As it was flying up, okay? It did not break, which is a good sign. Again, $64, give or take, $64, $65 is a very good baseline for oil, right? It's going to take a lot to hammer that down. In fact, I would say unless the world ends or unless for some reason they turn the pumps on and they just drill baby drill per se, and they have the equipment to do it, right? As I quoted a presidential candidate, a possible president, it doesn't seem like it's going to break $64, $65. If it does, it's not going to stay there for long, right? Unless it's gerrymandering and manipulation of the market, which happens, right? So, and I'll address this right now again, even if they drill baby drill, we don't have the supplies to, right? The rig count is down to, I think, 500 or 600 rigs. Back when former President Trump was in office and he was in the drill baby drill phase, right? He had 1,100 rigs, about 1,000 to 1,100 rigs. That's twice as many holes being poked in the ground as there are now. But if you look at the historical portion of it, if you look at oil and gas prices, it took him 2 years in his last administration to really get oil prices down, right? So people are scared. What happens? I'm not super worried about it. I know that you can't buy an oil rig off Amazon and have it delivered the next day. These things take time to build, and the oil and gas company has had such a cannibalization of them in the last 3.5 years that it's gonna take some time for them to get up and running. We're talking about, I would say, a year minimum, maybe 2 years, give or take, right? It just depends how fast they can move, right? But we might have more supply issues today, post-COVID, than we did back then. Who knows? The future will tell. My point is, I'm not super worried. It did have a good bounce up here, which is good. Now what's going to happen? It's probably going to have a little bit of a pullback. It may go up again. It may start to stair-step its way up and form a new channel, just like it's done here, like it's done here, like it's done here. It may just bounce around here between $65, $66 and, $70s for a little while, right? Who knows? We'll figure out when the election happens. That's the big thing. That's what a lot of people a lot's on hold, and that's coming up in like 6 weeks. We got 6 weeks until that happens. Natural gas. This is some good stuff for natural gas. All right. So as you see, it kind of we drop down, it starts to stair step its way up. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets some sort of a pullback pretty slightly, and then starts to power through again. It is starting to get to the winter time, so natural gas typically used more in the winter, especially in the northern states than you do in the southern states. We use it a lot for AC and not melting, right? But it probably will get around $3-ish or so. I don't expect natural gas to really fly up to where it once was. If you look at the charts here, it was, you know, let's see here, $5 to $7. I don't think that's going to happen until if another president is elected and they undo the ban on natural gas exports that is currently in effect. I don't see natural gas going up past $3, maybe $4, depending. It could go up to, I think it's a top at $4. Once that happens, though, and the U.S. can actually export and sell its natural gas to the world, two things are going to happen. One, the world is going to get more power, right? There's not going to be a lot of rolling blackouts in a lot of these countries anymore, or as much, depending on how much they can buy, right? And two, there's going to be less natural gas here in the U.S., so that's going to shoot the price up, right? So good things coming. It depends on the presidential rate. Either way, it looks like it could go up another $1-ish, give or take. The biggest thing that I want to, the Fed should make a decision today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so about an hour or two. They're going to figure out if they're going to cut and how much. Now, the rumor about a month ago was they're going to cut 25 basis points or 0.25% interest rates in total. Then in this last week, there's a lot of fears that they might cut it 50%. The thoughts are if they cut it 25%, hey, smooth cruising, everything's good. If they cut it by 50 basis points or 0.5%, that might make a lot of people in the market fearful, right? Oh, what does the Fed see that we can't? What are we walking into? We're walking into a bad recession, and they know it, whatever. If they cut 75 basis points or 0.75% for interest rates, I think the market's going to tank, right? I don't think they'll do it that much, but there's a lot of rumors that they're going to cut it by 0.5%, which is huge. Considering this is the first one the first cut they've had in I think 14 years or something like that since. Well, ask yourself this: when was the last time the Fed cut rates? If I remember right, it was 2007. What happened in 2007? So yeah, so we will be into a recession. I think we're in one already. I like where I'm at for crude. If you want to join me, cool. Let me know. The reason is after normal recessions. On normal recessions, I love this chart, by the way. You can go to macro trends. This is crude prices, 70-year historical chart. Love it. I did take the inflation adjusted off just because I like to see prices as they were, and then in my mind kind of do it. Also, I'm going to scale over to the 70s because that's when we went off the gold standard and life changed for everyone. Not in a positive way. Some for a positive way. But, and this is a little misleading because it got up a lot higher than, well, it got up to like 150. But you see the gray bars are the recessions, and what do you see crude doing? You see it flying up. Typically it flies up and then eats itself, flies down. In the 70s, it didn't actually. So it actually just kind of popped up and stayed there. This is because there were some tensions between the U.S. and the Middle East, and that just kind of kept oil up for a while. But you see, if you had bought oil assets in the 70s, popped up, you would have been like riding that thing for forever, right? And then it popped down, it went down, but you know what? You're still a lot higher than what you once were. It just doubled, came back down, then it popped back up. And this is typically what oil does, right? Even in oops. All right, let me get this oil chart going. All right, you see it pop up. Let me go back down to the 2000s. This is the .com bubble right here. Again, popped up. This time it started to come down before the recession, but again, in 6 months to a year, more it popped back up. And then it just started climbing until the GFC, the Great Financial Recession. This is the worst one we've seen for my generation and for most of ours, right? If you live through this. The recessions just keep getting worse, right? But oil, flew up to 150 and cut itself halfway. Like, that's in the middle of the recession, right? This is like this is going to knock down any economy. Comes back down, cuts itself in half or so, then pops back up. Like a year later, let's see here. Sorry, 2009, then pops up, almost doubles itself in about a year, and then within a few more years, another year or two, it's back up really, really running well. And we just go off to the races. And then in, let's see here, actually I'll do, when was Trump elected? The first, 2016, right? So here is, all right, Trump elected, 2016 was $30 a barrel, popped up, and it went back up to 60 again. These things just keep gumming, right? And then like, I don't really see his policies doing much. I think this is like just the normal trend of things. Well, this might be a lot of FUD that, oh, he's getting in the presidency, and because this was just the beginning of his presidency, right? But that FUD happens, it drops prices, popped back up, type thing, and then it kept going, and then it popped back down again towards the end of it, right? I don't know. It's kind of hard to see, like, because it's just everywhere during his presidency. So people are really worried about oil and gas during his presidency. I'm not really worried about it. Then it flew down during the lockdowns and stuff, and now it's back up. So yeah, it's back up to a peak now. Where is this going to go? Is it going to stagger like this peak and just kind of keep going up or whatever like that, then get cut down? Who knows? But it looks like these patterns look kind of similar in one sense, right? But very different in another. I'm not really worried about it. I'm kind of like going on off about it. But the biggest thing is the Fed meeting. We'll see what happens in recession. Recessions do happen. And the one thing I like about this is that no matter if it's here or here or here, we're still making money. There's no liability to it. I don't have to worry about tenants or renters breaking their lease, and then I've got to carry a $1,200, $1,500 mortgage for who knows how long, walk into the house and be like, oh, it's $15,000, $20,000 in repairs. I hope whoever that happens to has it saved in their bank account, and then they get it back up on the market, a month or two later. But anyway, if you're interested and you want more, contact me. But this is just kind of a quick video on oil prices, how they are today, and we'll see what happens with the Fed meeting. Until the next video.